Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Los Angeles. This is your Week 15, 2024 prediction and preview video. Hit subscribe if you're new. Also hit the like button. Let's start off with the home team, the Los Angeles Chargers. They're coming off a close loss against the Kansas City Chiefs. They lost that game by a walk-off field goal. Laugh if you ever heard that before, with the Kansas City Chiefs winning a game. They lost this game 19-17. In the first half, the offense did little to nothing because the run game was not there. But in the second half, they put the football in Justin Herbert's hand, and man, did he look good. He did suffer an ankle injury and a leg contusion, but it's Justin Herbert. The man's played with broken ribs. He's played with a sprained ankle earlier this season. He's going to play in this game. Justin Herbert was 21-30 on the day, 213 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 0 interceptions. He has one of the best touchdown to interception ratios in the NFL. 14 passing touchdowns and 1 interception. This may be a bit of a controversial take. In order for them to win this game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you have to throw the football. Ladd McConkey missed last week's game, but you still saw Justin Herbert and the wide receivers step up. And you hope that you can build off of that. Joshua Palmer led the team in receiving yards last week. Joshua Palmer has 78 receiving yards. You had Smart, the tight end, 54 receiving yards, who is a very good athletic tight end, by the way. This is a man that played quarterback and wide receiver in college. Be on lookout for him in this matchup. And Quentin Johnston had a receiving touchdown and 48 receiving yards. Quentin Johnston catching the football better since he had that bad game against the Baltimore Ravens. I will say this. In this matchup, you have to target him early and often, even if Ladd McConkey is in the game. Quentin Johnston in the red zone situations, for whatever reason, he's almost Mr. Automatic. 7 receiving touchdowns this season, and he only has 29 catches. Hopefully, Ladd McConkey can play, because Ladd McConkey is the #1 wide receiver, and I don't see the Chargers going out there and having a lot of rushing success against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because J.K. Dobbins is still out. He's going to be out for the next couple of weeks. He's still dealing with a knee injury. It's not a major knee injury, but it is an injury, and he's not going to be able to play in this matchup. You have to lean on Gus Edwards, and last week, Gus Edwards only had 36 rushing yards on 10 carries, 3.6 rushing yards a carry, 1 rushing touchdown. And if you fall back in this game, like how you fell back against the Kansas City Chiefs, you're not going to be able to run your way back into the game. The Chargers love to run the football, but their rushing efficiency isn't the best. It's slightly below average. The reason why the rushing numbers are high is because J.K. Dobbins will get a big run that goes for 20 or 30 yards here and there. But on the day, they're not a consistent run team on down after down. And a lot of that is because Greg Roman is forcing the issue with the run game. But since J.K. Dobbins did go down to injury, unfortunately, we've seen them lean more back into Justin Herbert. And we've seen this in the past. Justin Herbert can air it out with the best of them. All the wide receivers have to do is get open and catch the football. I like what Quentin Johnston was able to do last week, and I believe Ladd McConkey should be able to play in this matchup. He was able to practice today, but he was limited in practice. If he can't play, you have Joshua Palmer, you have Quentin Johnston. You're going to have to work off of play action and use Gus Edwards as a mini receiving back coming out of the backfield. Will Dissly is out for this game. He's scheduled to miss the next 2 to 3 weeks dealing with an injury. That's major because he's been the best receiving tight end on this team. He's been one of the better receiving targets on the Chargers all season long. But you do have Smart, who is a faster player. But Will Dissly is more so the complete tight end. He can do a lot of things for you in the run game and especially in goal line situations. Smart isn't the best blocker. He's more so of a receiving tight end. Not to say that he can't go out there and block, because he can. But Will Dissly in the past has just been a main blocking tight end. So he already has that underneath his belt. This rushing attack will not be the same against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this matchup because of Kalijah Kancey and Vita Vea. And I look at this offensive line. The tackle position, they're awesome. You have Joe Alt, you have Rashawn Slater. The interior of this offensive line, they've been hit or miss. In some games, they've been very good. In other games, not so much. We saw what happened against the Cleveland Browns. We saw what happened last week. The interior of this offensive line can cost them. Because even though that you do have Justin Herbert, you don't want to put Justin Herbert to a situation where it's 3rd and 15. Leave him dead to right. So you have Vita Vea, you have Kalijah Kancey, and Yaya Diaby. Be on lookout for all of those defensive linemen because Todd Bowles will bring pressure off the edge, and they will also fake a blitz up the middle. And we saw what happened last week when the Kansas City Chiefs did that. They had a lot of success of doing stunts up the middle against the Los Angeles Chargers, and to Greg Roman went into the 4th quarter and deviated the entire game plan. So do some smoke screens, get the football out quick early on, and feed your wide receivers. Still run the football. It's a Greg Roman offense. You know that he's going to go out there and try to give Gus Edwards at least 10 to 15 carries in this matchup, but be careful with how you feature your running backs in this game. When I look at the defense for the Los Angeles Chargers, one of the best defenses all season long. You have Jesse Mentor. This is going to be a hard test for the Los Angeles Chargers defense, but we've seen and heard that before. We saw them against the Baltimore Ravens. They played solid. They just could not stop the rushing attack with Derrick Henry. In the 2 games against Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs, the defense played very well. You're going against Baker Mayfield. He is turnover prone, but Baker Mayfield has had some stretches to where he's thrown 0 interceptions. You have to put pressure on Baker Mayfield. And I look at Mike Evans. Just because they don't have Chris Godwin does not mean that they don't have other wide receivers that can go out there and give you problems. They have Jalen McMillan, who went out there last week against the Las Vegas Raiders and did major damage. You don't want to just put all your attention on Mike Evans. And when I look at the Chargers defense, they're physical. Even though they will put 3 safeties on the field, they have a lighter box. They are still a physical defense up front. Baker Mayfield has been sacked 8 times in the last 2 games. I'm looking at Khalil Mack, I'm looking at Thule, and I'm looking at Joey Bosa. Even though at this stage of the game, Joey Bosa is more so of a rotational pass rusher, I'm looking at those edge rushers to put a lot of pressure on Baker Mayfield, because if you can do that, you can limit those deep shots down the field. This is a Buccaneers defense. A Buccaneers offense, they're a complete offense. They can run the football with Rashard White, with Sean Tucker. They can go back there and give you a lot of problems. And they can also do the same thing with Bucky Irving. And I look at the rushing defense with the Chargers. It has been good all season long, but they will give up some big plays in the rushing attack in between the tackles, especially to a speed running back like Bucky Irving. This is where Poona Ford comes into play. Poona Ford has been phenomenal against the run this season and eating up double teams. Not every defensive lineman is going to go out there and be known to sack the quarterback, but he's an underrated player with the Chargers because of how good he is with his gap responsibility. And you also look at Morgan Fox. Those 2 players are going to be huge on this defensive line to stop the rushing attack with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we've seen Baker Mayfield in the past. When the rushing attack is not there, he can still go out there and ball, but you have to make this offense one-dimensional. Either take away the pass or take away the run, and then you can tee off on Baker Mayfield with Khalil Mack and with Joey Bosa and Thule. When I look at the secondary with the Chargers, you have Derwin James, who can fly all over the field. This is a man that can play linebacker. He can play safety. He's all around the field. I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about Christian Fulton either, or even Elijah Molden. Elijah Molden, who has been very good all season long. 7 pass deflections, 3 interceptions. But they don't have Gilman. That's why they had to bring in Marcus May. They haven't been able to run that 3 safety look in the last few weeks because Gilman has been out dealing with an injury. And Marcus May is a solid depth piece, but you don't want him on the field that much. I trust for Coach Jesse to go out there and possibly play more man coverage in this matchup and may just have safety help over the top with Mike Evans. But I look at Christian Fulton. He's had some major penalties this season, like how he had last week against the Chiefs and like how he had against the Baltimore Ravens. But he's a technically sound corner. He's a big body. I would put him on Mike Evans. Mike Evans is going to be a handful in this matchup because Baker Mayfield just doesn't care. Even when he's in double coverage, we hear so much about the moon ball with Russell Wilson and how great of the deep ball passer he is, and the same with Lamar Jackson. Baker Mayfield has a great deep ball to Mike Evans. It's one of the best connections in the NFL, and you do want to look at Mike Evans this entire game. I'm not saying go out there and put Christian Fulton on him the entire time, but they do have a lot of players. You can put a lot of different looks on Mike Evans, try to weigh him down at the line of scrimmage, but just tire out Baker Mayfield and this offense. You have Coach Jesse, who was a defensive coordinator, going against Coach Liam, who was the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers. 2 very good coordinators. And if you're a football nerd like me, I like to see the chess pieces. I like to see the movements on the field with the different motions and the different screen looks. For so many years, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have not been able to run the football. They draft Graham. They bring in a brand new offensive coordinator because Dave Canales went to become the head coach of the Panthers. And Coach Liam is more so of a balanced coordinator. He loves to run the football. He loves to work off of play action. He loves to work off of play action bootlegs, but they'd like to take a lot of deep shots down the field to Mike Evans. And when Chris Godwin was in this lineup, we saw them run more crossing patterns. We haven't seen that until last week when they had Jalen McMillan. And speaking of all those things with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, let's talk about them. Because last week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they continued their winning streak. The Buccaneers are now first in their division. They're 1 game ahead of the Atlanta Falcons. And when you look at Baker Mayfield playing down the stretch, he has played well, but at the same time, he's had a lot of questionable decisions. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They defeated the Las Vegas Raiders 28-13 last week. Baker Mayfield, 18-29, 295 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And he had 2 interceptions the week before. Baker Mayfield has to take care of the football in this game. You're going against one of the best defenses in the NFL in the Los Angeles Chargers. And when I look at Baker Mayfield, a lot of the interceptions make you scratch your head, because even though Baker Mayfield has thrown those interceptions on the season, Baker Mayfield has been a very good quarterback. Baker Mayfield has 28 passing touchdowns to 13 interceptions. It starts with taking care of the football and running the football at a higher rate. We saw Rachaad White last week, 17 attempts, 90 rushing yards, 5 yards a carry, 1 rushing touchdown. Sean Tucker, 3 carries, 47 rushing yards. Use Sean Tucker more in this matchup. Sean Tucker is a speed running back. The Chargers are a physical team. They do have speed, but they have given up some big plays to running backs like Derrick Henry in the past because they're bruisers. The thing is with Sean Tucker, it's so hard to catch him in the open field. Rachaad White is more so of the balanced running back, while Bucky Irving can come out there and he can gas you from sideline to sideline. You have 3 different running backs. Run this offense through your running backs and through your tight end, and Cade Otton. Cade Otton has been a very good for sure-handed tight end this season. And last week, he led the team in receiving yards with 70 receiving yards. And Mike Evans was right behind him, 69 receiving yards. And Sterling Shepard, 63 receiving yards. Sterling Shepard is going to get a lot of looks because Sterling Shepard is the former college teammate with Baker Mayfield. So they already have a connection right there. I'm not worried about the wide receivers in this matchup. I'm more so worried about this offensive line allowing Baker Mayfield to get sacked 8 times in the last 2 games. And you can make the argument he's holding on to the football for too long. Baker Mayfield's doing too much behind the line of scrimmage. But at the same time, I will say this. The offensive line does have to play better. You're going against Khalil Mack. You're going against Joey Bosa. You want to make sure your franchise quarterback has enough time inside the pocket to step up in the pocket and deliver the football deep down the field to Mike Evans. Jalen McMillan last week, like I mentioned earlier in this video, had 2 receiving touchdowns, 59 receiving yards, and was a beautiful screenplay by Coach Liam. I can see Coach Liam trying to go out there and cause a lot of misdirection against the defense of the Los Angeles Chargers. But the Chargers have so much versatility on the back end, it's going to be hard to do that. Feature your playmakers, run this offense through your running backs and through your tight end, and you should be okay in this matchup. I like what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have done in the last 3 games, but Baker Mayfield has to tone down with those interceptions. He doesn't have to be mini Brett Favre. One play he's going out there, he's getting a 50-yard touchdown to Mike Evans. The next drive, he'll throw an interception trying to target a guy like Sterling Shepard. You don't want to see that in this matchup. And the reason why I'm harping in on this, you're going against a quarterback in Justin Herbert. He doesn't turn the football over. The Chargers are a sound and disciplined offense. And I look at the defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their defense has taken a step back in the last few weeks, pretty much this entire season because of injuries. Antoine Winfield is out for this game. And Antoine Winfield missed a couple of games at the start of this season dealing with an injury. He's their best player in the secondary. Now, you do have Kalijah Kancey. You do have Vita Vea. You want to beat up Justin Herbert. You want to go out there and beat up the bully. The Los Angeles Chargers, they like to bully teams because of Coach Harbaugh and Greg Roman and because of Coach Jesse. Their entire coaching staff, they love bully mentality. I look at Todd Bowles. He's one of the best blitzing coaches in the NFL. It just depends on where he's going to send the blitz. Now, Justin Herbert has been phenomenal against the blitz in the past, but we've seen Todd Bowles go out there and fake blitzes. And you have a guy like Kalijah Kancey and Vita Vea, they're just eating up space. So edge rushers like Yaya Diaby can come off the edge and they get one-on-one looks. Last season, Yaya Diaby led the team in sacks, only 2 sacks this season and 1 forced fumble. He has to step up in this matchup. I don't expect for them to get a lot of pressure off the edge, and I'm not going to tell the truth. I don't think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to go out there and try to get a lot of pressure off the edge. They're going to try to beat them from the inside and send different looks. Sometimes it's not about just going out there and beating tackles at the point of attack. It's about confusing tackles and confusing the guards and coming across their face and trying to get straight into the teeth of the offense. And that's by going out there and trying to get Justin Herbert off target. Try to get him off platform. Justin Herbert is an amazing thrower of the football, but if you can put enough pressure on him and you can go out there and try to beat up on this offensive line like how the Cardinals did, you could be in a very good situation. But we are so far removed from that loss they had against the Arizona Cardinals to right now the Los Angeles Chargers are really a different team. Was going to start with pressure up front, put a lot of pressure on Justin Herbert through the guard position. And I look at the secondary. They play a lot of man coverage. And their cornerbacks are not terrible, but they're not the best cornerbacks to go out there and leave on an island. Lucky for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you're not going against a duo of a Puka Nacua and a Cooper Kupp. You do have to worry about Ladd McConkey. You do have to worry about Joshua Palmer and also Quentin Johnston, but you can get away with press coverage at times in this matchup. And the reason why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense has given up a lot of passing yards in the past is because the injury to Antoine Winfield. Not only just that, Todd Bowles loves to blitz, so let's leave his cornerbacks in one-on-one situations. You don't want to see that in this game because Quentin Johnston can get over top of cornerbacks, and the same with Ladd McConkey. And your tackling has to be on point in this matchup. And I look at the linebackers with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Levante David is still one of the best linebackers in the NFL. They have good pieces right there. They have the pieces to go out there and make this a close game with the Chargers and possibly win this football game. You look at the Buccaneers right now. They've caught fire. They've won their last 3 games. The Chargers, they're coming off a tough loss against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is going to be a close and physical football game because you have 2 coaching staffs. They love to go out there and win at the line of scrimmage. I do like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' chance to win this game, but I believe the Chargers will come out on top. I believe the Los Angeles Chargers will win this game. Right now, I have a lot of concern with Baker Mayfield turning the football over. Last week against the Las Vegas Raiders, the Raiders do have a very good defense, but Baker Mayfield had 2 interceptions. You throw 2 interceptions in this matchup, you're going to be in trouble. I do believe that it will be a close football game, and in Chargers fashion, they'll win this game by 3 points. I have the Los Angeles Chargers winning this game 26-23. But let me know in the comment section below, who do you have winning this game, the Los Angeles Chargers or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless.